Hello folks, Alex here. This is Alex Unabridged, and it's time for my August wrap-up, which was a month filled with trash. So welcome back to the channel if that is the case. Yes, August is done. GarbAugust is done. Fabulous month, full of trashiness, some of which I will go through in a little bit. But before I get to my wrap-up, I want to shout out a very exciting project that has just been announced for 2024, announced by Mr. Troy Tradup and Olly over at Olly. And this is one that I will definitely be getting involved with. So if you've participated in GarbAugust, you obviously have an interest in reading some trash. But the question is, do you also secretly write it? So yes, Olly and Troy, who is the trashy owner of Tough Times Publishing, as well as being a booktuber and writer as well himself, they've partnered to create the first ever anthology of GarbAugust inspired trash fiction, and that anthology will be called Garbology, the GarbAugust anthology of awesome trash. I love this idea, it's fabulous. They will be accepting story submissions in pretty much any category that we might all consider to be trashy. So those are the sorts of categories that we talk about for GarbAugust. So you've got things like your romance, your sex and romance, be that kind of real world human stuff, or shifter stuff, werewolves, monster stuff, paranormal stuff, all that kind of stuff. Bit of shifter smut, if you like. Men's adventure things, manly men doing manly things, westerns, war, post-apocalyptic, all that kind of stuff, vigilantes. Bit of cheesy horror, like you get in the paperbacks from hell, so creepy kids, killer animals, mutants, monsters, possession, all that kind of good stuff. Things like alien invaders, post-apocalyptic and apocalyptic stuff. Gothic romance is another one that you could look at. Basically, the sky is the limit, within reason. The full story submission guidelines, including what is accepted and what won't be accepted, can be found at criminally.com, so that's Olly's website. I will link to that in the description, and yeah, that will give you all the fine print and all the details that you'll need. You've got between now and December the 31st this year to get your submission in, and the submissions are to be 5,000 words or less, and not published before. And yeah, the anthology will be published 1 year from now, in August 2024. So if you've got, some trashy stories festering at the back of a closet somewhere, dig them out, because we want to read your trash. And if you haven't got anything lingering somewhere in a bottom drawer, then why not do what I will most likely be doing, and that is writing something specifically for submission. So yes, fabulous, exciting news that, do get involved if you fancy a crack at writing some trash. So on to my wrap-up then for August. First of all, I hit 200 subs this month, which is wonderful. Thank you ever so much to everybody who's subscribed to the channel so far, and just to everybody who drops in and watches my videos every now and again. It still amazes me that folks want to listen to me ramble on about books on a reasonably regular basis. And I love being part of this community on BookTube. It has been absolutely fantastic, and I'm not going anywhere. Right, so to my reading then for August. First of all, it's the big one, it's the GarbAugust stuff. I read 19 full books and one sort of half a book, which was a book of short stories that I didn't read all of. And I DNF'd 4 books. So I didn't do too bad this month. I think, I would have liked to have gotten through more, but I think, I'm pretty pleased with that. I always overestimate how much I'm going to be able to get through when I do my TBRs and my piles of possibilities. So I think, 19 and a half, pretty good going. I've been doing weekly wrap-ups, weekly trash reports for everything that I've been reading during the month, so I won't go through everything again here. Instead, what I will do is celebrate some of the great reads that I've had during this month with Al's Trash Awards. So I've got 5 awards, which, just highlight some of my favourite reads for the month. So first up, we've got the Spicy Award, and this is for the most enjoyable smutty book that I read. So the nominees for this are Gloam by Lily Mayne, which is book 4 of the Monstrous series, The Minotaur's Mate by Delaney Rain, which is, human minotaur smut, sci-fi smut, really. It's quite filthy, that one. And The Week, which is book 3 of the Monstrous series by Lily Mayne. And the winner of this award is Gloam. I really enjoy this series, and this was one of the, none of them have been bad by any means at all. They've all been extremely enjoyable, the 4 that I've read. But I think Gloam's probably one of my favourites, actually, so far. In fact, my favourite so far. Sweet romance, good kind of quest sort of storyline in an interesting post-apocalyptic, monster-filled environment. And yes, some pretty spicy stuff, enjoyable spicy stuff, but yes, pretty spicy gay monster smuttiness. So yes, very enjoyable. Okay, the next award is Surprise. So this is the book that I was most surprised to like. And the nominees for this are The Italian Connection, Cherry Delight, which is the first book in the Sexecutioner series by Gardner Fox, which is kind of sort of quite a Austin Powers-y almost sex comedy, men's adventure parody type thing. The Minotaur's Mate again. I wasn't sure what I was going to make of that when I picked that one. But yes, surprise, I liked it. And the Executioner, I think number 6, which was Assault on Soho by Don Pendleton. Good bit of classic men's adventure, vigilante action. And so the winner of the Surprise Award is The Executioner, Assault on Soho. Yeah, I was really surprised at the amount that I liked this, especially because after the first few pages being all about guns and types of guns and types of ammo and all that kind of stuff, which I really don't care about in the slightest. I thought, is it going to be like this all the way through? And it wasn't. It was highly amusing. It was quite Austin Powers-esque at times. It had some interesting sort of, quite funny subplots around a sort of fetish, secret fetish club in London. And yeah, it was, very amusing, a really quick read, really entertaining read. So I will be reading some more Executioner books in future GarbAugusts. Next award then is it's the horror with the biggest ick factor. The horror book which was the most gross. And the nominees for this are The Cabin in the Woods by Tim Lebbon, which is the novelisation of the film, Worm by Simon Ian Childer, and Pestilence, which was The Killer Lampreys by Edward Jarvis. And the winner for this by a country mile actually, was Worm by Simon Ian Childer. Yeah, there's something about the sort of body horror that comes with like giant parasitic worms that just really is just, for me. It really was horrible. You know, both Pestilence and The Cabin in the Woods had a fair amount of ick factor, but it was kind of more palatable, shall we say. Yeah, there was quite a bit in Worm that really did make me go, oh no. So yes, so Worm, the horror with the biggest ick factor. Next award then is Redonkulous, the most wonderfully ridiculous book. The nominees for this are Zombie Shark with Metal Teeth by Stephen Graham Jones, a book of short stories, and the last of my GarbAugust reads for the month. Pestilence again by Edward Jarvis, and Cabin in the Woods again by Tim Levin. All of these were utterly ridiculous. In fact, there were more than that. I could put probably most of the stuff that I read for GarbAugust in this as nominee for this category, for this award. But the winner is Zombie Shark with Metal Teeth. It was the last, but it was the most ridiculous in the most part. There were some stories in it that were less ridiculous, but when you've got something that's about giant space lobsters that people use to store their consciousness in, and you've got stories about, you know, a family where the parents are Muppets and things like that. It's, you know, there's some serious ridiculousness going on with this, and it was highly enjoyable. So yes, so Zombie Shark with Metal Teeth wins the Redonkulous award. And then finally, the last award is the Gimme More award. And this is for a book that's most inspired me to read more by that author or more of that series. So the nominees for this are the Buffy tie-in that I read, Out of the Madhouse. That is one of a trilogy. Cherry Delight by Gardner Fox. So more by Gardner Fox and the series of the Sexecutioner books. And Orca by Arthur Herzog, which was a novelisation / paperback from hell about a killer orca, funnily enough. And the winner of this is Orca. I think Orca, even though it wasn't the best book that I read, I think it's the one I enjoyed the most. I think it's my favourite of all the GarbAugust reads, actually. Possibly tied with The Cabin in the Woods, which was also excellent and I really, really liked. But yeah, Orca's definitely made me want to read more by Herzog because I liked the way he paced it. I liked the characters were fun. They were dislikable completely, but in a fun way. And yeah, it was, the plot was ridiculous and but not so much that you kind of had to over suspend your disbelief. It was just a really good, rollicking, fun book. So yeah, I think despite the fact it wasn't what I'd say was the best book or even the most trashy book, I think it was my favourite. And so I will definitely be reading some more Herzog. I have got a Swarm downstairs, so I will add that into a future TBR. Not necessarily waiting for GarbAugust on that one. I will just add it in when I fancy it. So those are my trash awards. But as I say, fabulous reads in general for GarbAugust, and I can't wait until next year. So other than GarbAugust then, what else have I been up to? What else have I been reading? Because I have read a couple of things not GarbAugust related. So I was, you know, I've always got an adventures in genre kind of thing going, you know, project on the go. And for August, it was action and adventure. And the books I read for that were Trigger Mortis by Anthony Horowitz. That's one of the modern James Bond novels. And Pacific Vortex by Clive Cussler, which, to be fair, could have gone in the GarbAugust pile. I will be doing my usual Adventures in Genre wrap-up for next week, next Sunday, so do tune in if you want to see what I made of those two. I will do those as a separate video. So that's all my reading out of the way then. So to the writing then. Well, it's been quite an interesting month on that side of things as well. So right at the end of the month, once I knew about Garbology, I decided, yes, I'm going to try and submit something. So I come up with a story, and I have outlined at this point. I haven't started writing yet, but I have got a reasonably decent outline for my short story. So I will keep you up to date on how that is going, but I'm not going to give away any details on plot because I want that to keep it. I want to keep that as a surprise. I'm keeping that close to my chest, seeing as that is going to be a submission for Garbology. So beginning of the month, I was kind of tinkering around with things that I've been working on for ages, which I kind of ended up putting to the side because my mind kind of got taken over by trash. And so I thought I'll put these things that I'm working on to the side, and I'm going to devote most of September to those. I'm going away for a couple of weeks, and so I will have a bit of time actually whilst I'm away to focus on those projects. So they will come next month. But I was still feeling the need to write some stuff. So, and I've ummed and ahed about sharing this, but seeing as we've been reading trash kind of unashamedly and celebrating it for the past month, I thought, screw it, why not? I will share this little project. Yeah, I read quite a bit of spicy romance in week 1 of GarbAugust, and one of those was Starting From Scratch, which is a queer romance between a queer trans guy and a queer cisgender guy. Quite a sweet romance. Smut wasn't bad, but it got me to thinking that there isn't, certainly in terms of what I've found so far, there's not a lot of transmasculine queer romance out there, and I've yet to really find anything that comes close to reflecting my own identity, my physicality, my sexuality, how I view my gender, etc. And so I thought, well, then why don't I try, my own hand at it? So I did. So my month of writing has been very trashy also. And yeah, I really got into it. I found that I got a plot pretty quickly that I think worked, and so I outlined it and I started writing. And I was writing, a lot at night. Basically, I would sit down and it would just, it flowed quite easily. And as of now, I have got about 25,000 words of a dirty draft written, dirty in more ways than one. So I've got the first few chapters, and then I kind of had some chapters kind of later in the story kind of formed in my head a bit. So I jumped ahead and I've written out of sync, if you like, out of sequence, just kind of getting chapters done, just to make sure I've kind of, if I wasn't feeling the next chapter, if you like, in terms of the linear structure, I'd jump ahead and keep writing. So about 25,000 words done, so not too bad for a month's writing, and I'm aiming for around about the 60 to 70,000 word mark maximum. I don't want it to go on too long. I don't want it to overstay its welcome. It's a very dirty draft at the moment. It's going to need a hell of a lot of work doing to it in terms of cleaning it up. I'm probably rambling quite a lot in it. There's definitely some stuff in there that I think can be cut already, in terms of it doesn't, move the plot forwards. It kind of stalls things a little bit. And I'll need to kind of work quite a bit on the spicy stuff. I don't want it to trip too much into the erotica side of things. Should be a spicy but sweet romance. It's a story rather than a series of sexual tableaus. So yes, but yeah, do you know what? Writing this kind of stuff is really, really good fun. and I'm finding it a little easier to write. It's coming out easier than, say, some of the horror stuff that I've been working on, and it's infinitely easier than the autobiographical stuff that I've been doing. That is really hard. And so it's a good thing to have going in contrast to the other stuff that I'm doing. As I say, I probably won't get too much more of it done, certainly for the next month or so, whilst I concentrate on getting some of the horror short stories that I've been writing actually to a point, not finished, but certainly to a point where I can actually start showing people, and then starting to work on, kind of really into the edits to get them to a point where I can publish. So yeah, I want to kind of try and get to that point with those by the end of the year. So this will just be something that I will tick along with when I've got time. But yeah, I'm going to keep going with it and see where it goes. Because, as I say, it's really good fun to write, and even if I only write it just for me, it's something that's very enjoyable. If I end up publishing it, though, it will be under a pseudonym. You can bet your ass it'll be under a pseudonym. And whether I tell you what that pseudonym is and what the title is, etc., will very much depend on how exposing I feel it is, because of the nature of it. Anything that you're talking about, kind of relationships and sex in, and because one of the characters is quite close to me, certainly in terms of identity, physicality, etc., and how I view that side of me. Otherwise, character, different. But there's elements that are close enough to me that I might feel it says a little too much about me, or gives away too much about me. And so I might want to keep a little bit of that to myself. So I will decide at a later date with that. But yes, that is what I've been writing this month. A trashy writing month as well as a trashy reading month. So that's it for this month. What am I doing next month? My TBR and Pile of Possibilities video for my sci-fi extravaganza that is September is already out. I will link to that video in the description as always. But yes, Adventures in Genre was always going to be sci-fi for September, and I just decided, you know what, I want to do a whole month of it. Starfield video game is out this month, so that's all sci-fi. I'm just going to immerse myself in some sci-fi worlds and try and get into that genre, because I'm very intrigued by it. I really want to like it, but I find it quite a daunting genre to kind of work my way into and figure out what I like. I am also doing another event. I'm a glutton for punishment, obviously, but this one should be a little bit less manic, because this is Shorty September. And so I will be reading some very, very short stuff. I have a wheel of possibilities that I will be spinning daily, or when I'm ready for another shorty, and I will update you on the picks that the wheel throws out, and some very quick reactions to what I read via shorts on YouTube and in the community posts. My TBR / my wheel of possibilities, if you like, for Shorty September, I've also got a video on that as well, so I will link to that in the description. So those are my plans for September, and as I say, writing plans, I'm going to try and nail a couple of the short stories that I've had on the go for a while that I just need to stop tinkering with. I need to just knuckle down, nail them, and give them somebody to read before I can actually make them better. So I need to just get them to that state where I'm happy to give them out to somebody. I'm going to be away at my parents, for a couple of weeks, from the 4th of September, which is tomorrow as this video goes out. I'm helping out with stuff around the house and stuff, whilst my mum recovers from a bit of surgery. She's absolutely fine, but she can't do much for a little while. So I'm going home to assist with cooking and cleaning and generally keeping her spirits up. So there might be less videos from me over the next couple of weeks. I'm not entirely sure. I'm going to try and stick to my usual 2 on a Friday and a Sunday, but it will depend on what else is going on at home and stuff like that, you know. Well, at home. Not my home anymore, is it? At my parents'. It's my childhood home. So yeah, so if I don't get videos out on those days, that's why. So yes, I think that's everything from me today. I hope you've had a wonderful month of trash if you've been doing GarbAugust. And I hope you've just generally had a wonderful month overall, even if your reading has been high literature and not, you know, trashy goodness. So yes, thank you very much for watching today, folks. Do let me know what you've been up to for August in the comments down below and what your plans for September are. If you enjoyed this video, please do consider giving me a like and subscribing for more content coming very soon. But from me, for now, that's ta-ra.